Also, what are you doing not telling people to listen to the show? Come on.
Listen, I do, but I
Not
don't
how you
tell
make it
my
back
inner
on.
circle because I will be flamed for the eternity, dog.
Oh, no way. Oh my god! No way! Oh my god!
Welcome, everybody, to episode 143 of 1 million of the Serial Chillers podcast. And, as always, I ask, how goes it? Hella, Greg. Yes, that volume's much better.
No, I have two computers going, and I grabbed the wrong mouse. So I was like, why? Once I started panicking. I'm cool, man. Everything's fine now.
Good. Everything is fine now. It's occurring to me just now that we still don't have the guitar riff on the soundboard, but we'll make it happen.
Yeah.
We're here with a couple guests too, and we're gonna get more from them in a minute, but we're gonna make them listen while we do our own ad reads. And check us out on Instagram and TikTok, YouTube. Buy some stuff from us at the Threadless store, guys. We make such a huge commission off Threadless store sales. Please buy it.
We
Discord,
forgot the theme song.
Yeah, we did, huh?
Yeah, we can put it in post.
Yeah, fuck it. We'll do it live.
I mean, we missed the opportunity, but
yeah. Well, listen, we're fucking professionals, Greg. It's only been 7 years. Check us out on social medias. Find us everywhere. We're fucking everywhere. Come hang out in the Discord. We've been having a lot of fun. Even though my internet shit out, we got to watch some pretty good short horror films the other night. Great. I'll introduce her in a minute, but Grace is with us today, and she joined me for that the other night. It's a lot of fun. Also, mail us drugs and bombs, P.O. Box 1229, Clovis, California 93613.
I don't think you can explicitly ask for that stuff.
Yeah, whatever. You're the one who's not checking it, so all of this information is on serialchillerspod.com. It's gonna be a good episode today. Let me get some full guest introductions here. Listen, if somebody came to episode 143 to be like, oh, what's their Instagram again, then listen, I can't fucking help you. All right, you get serialchillerspod.com. Two guests that I think I know you both have been here before for sure in the tournament. Thomas, were you on another one before that? Okay, well, welcome back from the tournament. If you guys remember the Tournament of Champions from the end of last season, we are welcoming back Thomas and Grace. Hello, guys.
Hello.
What's up?
Yeah,
Good
welcome.
Good to have you guys. So we're working on our online guest repertoire. It's been good so far. I'm actually booked 6 weeks out now. Feels good to get this lined up this way and have that option opened up. We're going to be saying goodbye to the Serial Chiller's office soon, but this is the
wave. Fart this place up so good before I leave.
just gonna fill it with farts and fruit flies,
and then put a towel under the door so they can't leak out.
Shazam! Yeah, I'm excited for what we have going on, man. I think the sound to me, and I'm not the sound guy. We'll ask Nero when he comes on in a couple of weeks. But the sound to me has sounded a lot better with what we've got going on, and I think I'm excited for what's going on in the future. So I know you guys are excited, and I know that you guys know how it works. But let me explain it for anybody that doesn't. Each week, we sit down with old friends, new friends, good friends, and bad friends to tell the story of an infamous serial killer, something true crime, dark, creepy, unsolved, or otherwise mysterious. If you guys have any questions about the questions, be sure to ask questions, because I can't answer questions about questions if you never ask questions. Are there any questions?
Yeah, did you include the we to make me feel good?
No, I'm just I'm doing new stuff out here, man. I'm just I've done the we. I think I've done the we almost every episode. This whole
I mean, yeah, I've noticed. Yeah,
I mean, if it's made you feel good, then it's just an added bonus to what I got going on here. Yeah. I'm an actor.
I've noticed and I appreciate it.
Of course. Well, Greg, listen. I don't know if I've ever just said this.
Yeah,
I love you.
Oh, love you too, man.
Oh my God.
No problem. Just in case we haven't said that, guys, right here, first time on air, That's definitely not the
canon.
first time we said it, though. He knows. He knows. He
Yeah.
said it's the canon. Don't fuck with the canon event, you guys.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there any questions?
No
I
questions.
believe I'm fine. Yeah.
Okay, you guys got to pretend there's a guitar riff here. Then welcome to and let's play the Serial Chillers podcast. Fucking shreddy spaghetti, bro.
I almost clicked one of the other themes just for fun, and then I was like, nah, I don't want to have to edit that out later.
Today's episode, tell me, have you guys heard of Richard Rogers?
Ooh.
Old
no.
Dick Rogers.
Dick Rogers.
Old Dick Rog? I got a frog in my throat right as I went to say that. I was like, tell me, have you guys heard?
Got a frog in my throat.
Right.
Just open your mouth. It's all, hello, my baby. But never when anybody's looking.
Here's the real reason we switched from recording through Discord to Zencastr is because Discord had a sound gate that stopped me from saying question number 1. In what year was Richard Rogers born?
Peaks and valleys.
I'm taking vocal lessons to increase the range to just get as high as possible. I got a kitty at my feet doing the same.
His first name
Right?
is Richard. Can I ask what his middle name is?
You can ask.
Do you not know?
You can ask whatever you want, pal. I might have it in here. It's what's funny though is serial killers generally do go by 3 names. Richard Rogers generally just listed as Richard Rogers.
Interesting. Okay.
Which you would think because they do.
I have his middle name here.
Yeah, what is it? If you can give it to Grace, if she wants that as a.
Okay.
I'm just curious.
Westall.
Ooh.
W-E-S.
See, I was.
T-A-L-L.
Thomas, feel free to scratch out and change your answer after you've been given new information.
Yeah, I'm curious about like
Here's how we'll do it. Once Thomas has got his
name.
written, he doesn't have to show it, but Grace, just go ahead and type yours into the chat. And
right,
we'll
I'm
have
sending
Thomas turn his over. Okay.
That's what I'm feeling in my heart and my soul.
All right, Thomas, what do you got?
Yeah, 1948.
Thomas says 1948. Grace said 1938. Westall. You guys are both in the neighborhood.
Whoa.
Thomas is going to get 250 points because, very close, Thomas. Richard Rogers was born June 16th, 1950 in Plymouth, Massachusetts, and was the eldest of 5 children.
So I know you said he was born in 1950 in Plymouth, Massachusetts, but I still picture him being from Plymouth, Massachusetts, and he was wearing like a buckle hat. And,
And he like settled on the Mayflower.
yeah, just like spreading smallpox and wiping out cultures.
It's the American way.
Carving mystic words into trees.
Yes, dude. Fuck yeah. Okay. So he's raised by his father, who was a lobsterman, and his mother, who was a telephone worker. When I say that, she was one of these ladies, like switchboard operating.
Yeah, they were just called operators.
Yeah. I just think that's a fucking but it's way different when you're physically
Connecting Chicago 50219.
Yeah, it's impressive. So I don't know. I just thought that was cool. Rogers and his family would move from Plymouth, Massachusetts, all the way down to Florida in the late 1950s. This move was prompted by his father's pursuit of a higher-paying job in sheet metal manufacturing. What a just blue-collar guy, huh? It's like,
He said the lobster aren't paying.
The
They're
lobster
outsmarting the traps.
The lobsters aren't paying. Gotta get down there and just start pressing the sheet metal in Florida. During this time, his father started to treat him differently, he said, most notably by teaching Richard life skills about living off the land and how to hunt deer, duck, and other game, and all about fish in the area and how they could best be caught. You guys thought I was going to say, like, started abusing him heavily and shit, huh?
He was just
right.
like, hey, look,
How
here's
it
some
goes.
usable life skills.
Yes, exactly. This is, hey, buddy, you ever go fishing? I'm going to take you.
You ever seen the beginning to the Andy Griffith show? Walk with me. I'm going to show you how that works.
But if you whistle that annoying ass song, I swear I will backhand you. It'll be stuck in my head all day.
It's like, Dick, why did you kill people? My dad was just too damn nice to me.
It's just too damn nice.
I just didn't have enough challenge, you know?
Listen, I didn't need to know how to tie that many fishing line knots, all right?
You
gave me
don't know the
crabs.
pain of having to shoot a duck.
They're my favorite animal.
They're my favorite waterfowl.
So it was at this time that Richard may have felt the closest with his father in his entire life. A lot of people believe that his father may have been doing all this because he sensed the weakness in his son. Listen, there's a lot of dancing around in the way things get worded, depending on where you go. Basically, his father was like, "Oh, my son's a gaylord." Right from the get-go. Like, I mean, listen, it's the early 1950s, and he senses like femininity and like a little bit of pizzazz in his son, and he's like, "Fuck that! I'm taking him hunting. I'm taking him fishing. We're gonna outdoors the gay out of him."
Ah, the Homer Simpson.
Yes.
Parked him on a median on the highway and made him stare at a billboard of cigarettes.
So when we hear things like, I quote unquote sense the weakness in his son and things like that, there's a lot of dancing around by detectives, by interviewers, by writers, just about a lot of this has to do with the fact that Richard Rogers was a homosexual man, and a lot of the way people act and respond to a lot of things have a lot to do with that throughout the story. So it's kind of
How's your son? He's artistic.
Death, you are my bitch lover. So during his adolescent years, Rogers was characterized by his skinny physique and timid nature.
Been there.
Unfortunately, these traits, coupled with his effeminate personality and high-pitched voice, made him a target for bullying at Palmetto High School.
The hits just keep on coming.
I was gonna say, it can't just be one of them, huh? It's gotta be every
Gotta just
single
lay them
one.
on.
Oh man.
He should have just been proud his son was overachieving.
Despite his father's disappointment, Rogers did not display an interest in sports, including hunting, instead opting to attend Girl Scout meetings with his mother, who was a Girl Scout leader. Like, his dad was like, "Well, what are you going to go to the Boy Scouts, right? And he's like, "No, just go with Mom. I'm learning everything there at the Girl Scouts."
Cookies, dude. Cookies.
Yeah. True.
Like, I get that.
So he excelled academically, maintaining straight A grades and actively participating in the French club at his school. He went on to graduate from Palmetto High School in 1968 and would go on to Florida Southern College in Lakeland, Florida, and at this point was known for his introverted nature and tendency to keep to himself. That does not sound like a serial killer at all to me. Okay.
What? Brooding alone in their room?
No, I shall say. So, despite this, he formed a close bond with his second roommate, with whom he was inseparable throughout their university years.
Killed the first one.
While he did not actively participate in any clubs, Rogers and a few of his acquaintances became members of Circle K, a Kiwanis service organization. And in 1972, Rogers successfully completed his studies at Florida Southern College.
I was like, yo, they just started getting jobs at the Circle K. Like,
Yeah, I thought the same
I just
thing.
know it
was
as a
like,
gas
weird.
station.
yeah.
I just picture Jay with this trench coat and his
Yeah, right.
Fuck, motherfuck. Question number 2. He has now completed his bachelor's degree. Which degree did he receive? Was it A, a bachelor's in French? B,
Oui.
a bachelor's in English? Yes.
Yes.
C, a bachelor's in biology?
I don't
Or
know enough
D,
to make that joke.
a bachelor's in chemistry?
Or that one.
What was the first one?
French, English, biology, or chemistry? All right, Grace, go ahead and throw yours in chat. Was it A, French, B, English, C, biology, D, chemistry?
I just want to preface this. I feel like I definitely spelled this right, but it looks wrong, and it's fucking with me. What?
Can confirm, spelled correctly. All right. Thomas said C in biology. This time, Grace will get the points because, yes, in 1972, from the University of Florida Southern College, Richard Rogers would obtain his Bachelor's of Arts in French. So in 1973, he's now 23 years old. He embarks in a new chapter of his life as a graduate student at the University of Maine. So he's moved up north, y'all. I love them cold winters. Let me see them
Alright.
leaves fall. His time there was not without its share of drama, as he found himself living in a 2-story house with 3 other housemates in the quaint town of Orono, Maine. Among his housemates was Frederick Allen Spencer, a 22-year-old man with whom Rogers had a less than amicable relationship. Greg, remember your comment earlier
No.
about him killing his first roommate?
Yes.
No.
He would actually kill his second roommate because despite their differences, there had never been any violent altercations between the two until there was.
Yeah,
On
there
a
usually never
seemingly-
is until there is.
On a seemingly ordinary afternoon, Rogers, driven by an unknown force, struck Spencer repeatedly in the back of the head with a roofing hammer.
Were they
blows-
roofing? Why did he just have a roof? Like,
Well, I mean, a roofing hammer can be purchased in a hardware's. I have a roofing hammer, and it's got the little nail
My
hole
point
in the
is-
top and the
my point
grip.
is, if you like walk around carrying a roofing hammer, but you're not roofing, like maybe don't turn your back on somebody with a roofing hammer who's not roofing. Not to be too victim blamey here, but
So Rogers would bash Spencer in the back of the head several times with a roofing hammer, and the blows were said to have been brutal. But Spencer was miraculously clinging to life on the floor of the bedroom. Unwilling to let his victim escape the clutches of death, Rogers resorted to a finishing method. I know we're going a little rapid fire here, but question number 3.
Stone Cold Stunner.
What method did Dick use to ensure Alan Spencer was dead? Did he A, slit his throat, B, shoot him, C, put a bag over his head, or D, strangle him with a rope?
Oh my god.
None of those are Stone Cold
None
Stunner.
of those sounds correct.
Because if it was good, it was either that or the RKO.
I was going to say, my guess was RKO, but
Gives him the fucking people's elbow, dude.
Choke slam to hell.
all right, what do
Finish
you
him
guys
off with a
think?
different hammer.
Ooh, right. Yeah.
All right, a couple answers of strangled him with a rope. Come on, guys, the blood's already all over the place. Why not just shoot him or slice his throat?
I just think he's angry enough. He hit him with a fucking roofing hammer, right? Like,
He did, but I think he's also a sick fuck because what he did was take a tight-fitting plastic bag and slide it over his head and would finish him off by asphyxiation. And that was his cause of death. It wasn't the head injuries. It was the
Wow.
asphyxiation. They said that he callously placed a bag over Spencer's head, sealing his fate and extinguishing the last flicker of life within him. I put the citations down at the bottom. Some of these quotes are really good. They're from one of the books that I read on it. Not the whole. I don't ever read the whole goddamn book. They're so fucking boring. You ever get through a true crime book and finish and go, God damn, that was just so good the whole time? No. They're some of the driest, worst reads just ever.
There's
Yeah.
a reason why I've never read one.
Well, that's why I go with finding PDF downloads of books because I can Command F everything and just find what I need. It's a beautiful system. Thank you, technology. So, with Spencer's lifeless body now in his possession, Rogers bided his time until the cover of nightfall. All of his roommates passed out. It's nighttime. He's like, the nighttime is the right time. Under the cloak of darkness, he carefully wrapped Spencer's remains in his trusty nylon Boy Scout tent. Because fucking right. Like, come on, it's good for everything. Not just pop in a tent. You can also carry dead bodies. With grim determination, he dragged the lifeless body out of the house, past the parking lot, and into his waiting car. The eerie silence of the night was only broken by the sound of his tires on the road as he drove down Route 116 in Old Town, his destination etched in his mind. Finally arriving at the Bird Stream Forest, Rogers knew this place was the place where Spencer's body would find its final resting place. He killed the kid. I think he had like 4 hours before nightfall. And so it was like, he's just he's fucking plotting everything from here. All right, I'm going to take him to this spot I know in the forest. I think, no one ever goes there. I'm going to hide this body. I'm going to do it this way. I'm going to put him in my tent. Very
At least there's some like consideration going on,
Yeah, a lot of very meticulous.
This is sounding awfully premeditated.
This is true. This is true.
So, 2 days later, two unsuspecting cyclists stumbled upon Spencer's lifeless body, forever altering their lives as well. The police were called, and through meticulous investigation, they were able to identify the victim as Spencer. A key found in his pants led them to a post office box that he had rented, further solidifying his identity. The officers wasted no time in delving deeper into the mystery surrounding Spencer's death. Their search led them to Roger's room, where they were met with a chilling sight. Bloody fingerprints adorned the door, and a gruesome reminder of the violence that had unfolded the few days before. He hadn't really cleaned up.
Yeah,
So
you never do. After you murder somebody, you
You
just
just leave it.
you just sit in the filth for a while.
just gaslight the fuck out of everyone who sees it and act like it doesn't exist and you can't see it and they're the crazy ones.
What's that Ryan Reynolds movie where he's
Van Wilder.
Voices.
voices? Yes,
Yeah.
that's immediately what it reminds me of. It's like looking around in his glowing apartment, but there's actually like human remains rotting away in the corner.
Yeah,
Like,
and his eyes
this
just
is
all
fine.
clean.
Yeah.
That must have been the director's edition of Van Wilder. I don't remember that.
Van Wilder, dude, what a movie. You can't make them like that anymore. So a single bloody footprint also stained the floor, and blood droplets were on the wall. Remember, this is like in Spencer's bedroom next door to Roger's room.
I cut myself shaving.
Additionally, the hammer used to kill Spencer was found. He didn't even like try to ditch that. Like, why go to all the trouble to hide the body then? If you're gonna like clear,
Yeah.
like, hey, look, there was clearly a dead body here, but so you just move the heaviest part.
He clearly read one of those laws that's like no body, no crime, and just said fuck it.
I ain't cleaning this off the walls. So Rogers was then taken into custody by the Orono police, and that's when he faced with some pretty heavy interrogation, as you might expect. At some point during the talks, he would finally break down and admit to murdering his roommate. After his shocking confession, Rogers found himself facing charges in the brutal murder of Spencer. However, he maintained his innocence and pleaded not guilty. In order to gather evidence, Rogers' fingerprints, height, and weight were meticulously recorded. He was then confined to the Bangor, Maine jail for a grueling 6 months, awaiting the commencement of his trial. And any Stephen King fan will appreciate the significance of him being in the Bangor, Maine jail. It's like that's like a very popular writing destination for Stephen King. I don't know.
It's got a fucking sweet name.
Yeah, Bangor.
Oh.
So not Bangor. Sorry. Finally, on October 29th, 1973, the trial for Spencer's murder commenced in the Bangor Superior Court. The state was represented by the formidable Fouad Salem, an assistant attorney general, and on the other side, Rogers was defended by the skilled local attorney Errol K. Payne. Great names on both sides. Fouad Salem and Errol K. Payne.
This sounds like
Like a heavyweight bout.
No, it sounds like a classic like big city lawyer versus, well, I'm no big city lawyer. I'm just a humble country man. But my defendant did not kill that man with a hammer, you see.
Now I just see the blue chicken lawyer from Futurama. So the courtroom buzzed with anticipation as testimonies began on Halloween Day, 1973. It's almost the anniversary, guys.
Spooky.
Dang, almost the 50-year anniversary, actually.
Yeah.
On a night just like tonight, 50 years ago.
The first witnesses to take the stand, the first witness to take the stand was a medical examiner who revealed that Spencer had tragically succumbed to. It did say that he died of his head injuries. The asphyxiation was just a final touch. It didn't help. The examiner also hinted that Spencer's pinky finger had been broken during the struggle, likely in defense.
That seems like, I mean, I get why they would add that, but it seems like
It's arbitrary at this point.
Yeah, also he had like a severe
asphyxiated him. Also, his pinky was crooked.
Yeah, he had a gnarly paper cut, and like it looked like about 6 months ago he maybe stubbed his toe, and the nail was just about to finish growing back. Like,
You know, we did some research and like prior blood work shows that he might have had IBS.
So As the trial progressed, November 1st, a series of other witnesses shared their accounts. The end of the trial arrived when Richard Rogers himself took the stand to testify. As you know, in murder trials, this is
Boy.
generally frowned upon for the defendant to find themselves on the stand.
I forgot that was our killer's name, and I was like, "Yo, the victim just showed up to court."
Dick Rogers? No way.
Yeah, no, I'm caught up now. But
Perfect.
a
So Dick
shock that
Rogers
was.
recounted a harrowing tale of self-defense, claiming that Spencer had launched a vicious attack on him with a roofing hammer in which he gained control in a desperate struggle for survival. Rogers would then manage to wrestle control of the hammer and strike Spencer in the head 8 times. Even then, Spencer continued to fight, prompting Rogers to resort to extreme measures, and that's when he admitted to placing a plastic bag over Spencer's head until he ceased his resistance. In a panic, Rogers disposed of a blood-stained rug and, under the cover of darkness, disposed of Spencer's remains along Route 166. His reasoning for not immediately contacting the police was rooted in fear and arousing suspicion. I just imagine, like, while his telling of the story is going on, is
It's like the equivalent of fucking Johnny Depp's what's her name? Damn it.
Amber
Amber
Turd.
Heard.
Dude, yeah.
Amber Turd.
yeah.
My dog stepped on a bee. Like he actually attacked me.
I feel like this is like, as he's telling it, he's like, "Okay, you're not gonna believe this, right? This is why I didn't tell anybody, because nobody's gonna buy this."
This is why I didn't even say anything.
And also aliens were there.
He broke his finger, right? And then he was like, I'm so mad, I'm gonna take this out on somebody with this roofing hammer, but he had a broken finger, so I could get it from him easily.
Right. And he was like, I hate all guys named Dick. Oh, wait. And then, then it was on from there. So, yeah, wild shit. Observers in the courtroom were, in fact, captivated by Rogers' testimony. He was said to have presented himself with remarkable composure, clarity, and persuasiveness. As the day drew to a close, Errol K. Payne made a bold request to have Rogers' charges reduced to manslaughter. Surprisingly, the judge granted the request, resulting in a reduced charge for Rogers. The trial would reach its conclusion on November 2nd, 1973, with the jury deliberating for a mere 3 hours. Question number 4. For how long would Richard go to prison for this crime? So it got reduced from a first-degree murder to manslaughter. But yeah.
Okay. Well, how much they sentenced him to, or how much he served?
How much they sentenced him to for this crime.
Okay.
I do like that he said, I didn't tell anybody because then you'd think it was me.
Yeah.
Like,
I didn't want to arouse suspicion.
Yeah, I just I didn't want to tell you about the person I killed because
come on, buddy, arouse it. Arouse it. All right. What do you got, Thomas?
I said 6 months.
6 months. Grace said 6 years. Thomas is going to get the points because in a stunning turn of events, after deliberating for a mere 3 hours, the jury would deliver a verdict of not guilty.
Whoa.
And Richard Rogers was acquitted of the charges against him, leaving the courtroom in a state of disbelief.
What the fuck,
Whoa.
bro? I'm in a state of disbelief. Pardon?
Yeah, he didn't go. I mean, he spent 6 months in jail waiting for trial.
Oh, no.
But he did not. But yes, he was acquitted of the crime. Errol K. Payne came in and took care of his boy.
He hit him with the My Cousin Vinny.
Yeah. What a wild fucking... And it was only a 3-day trial, too. So all the witnesses came and went. 3 days. On the third day, the verdict came down. Not guilty.
Wow, dude.
Yeah. And that was on the reduced charge of manslaughter, Like, it feels like, okay, if he asked for it to be reduced to manslaughter, I feel like Errol K. Payne, in his mind, was like, oh, we're going down for this. We got to get it brought down to manslaughter at least, so he's not going to get the fucking death sentence or life in prison. So we're hoping for manslaughter, because while it might be easier to charge him with manslaughter because there's more evidence to say that this is manslaughter than first degree murder, we're better off taking that fucking deal than letting him charge my boy with first degree murder, which would they probably have the evidence for. So Errol K. Payne's like, yo, can we do manslaughter? And the judge's like, yeah, fuck it. All right, manslaughter. And the verdict goes in. They come out 3 hours later, and Errol K. Payne's are like, fuck.
Dude.
And they say not guilty.
That is
That's crazy.
I'm just, wow.
Bizarre.
What a
I mean,
good
'cause he
lawyer,
put a
though.
bag on
What
his
the
head.
fuck? Yeah, that dude.
Yeah.
That guy put Johnny Cochran to shame.
But they did say, I mean, I think even members of the jury mentioned basically the charm of Dick Rogers and his
You
persuasiveness.
can't put a nice
in
guy
his
like
story.
that in prison for one little mistake. Just one teensy little murder.
I'm pretty sure that's exactly what the judge in Brock Turner's trial said, right?
Yeah. Oh, God.
Oh, he's like a good Christian boy. He plays water polo. So the trial had come to an end, but the question, yeah, we'll do that episode one day. The trial had come to an end, but the questions surrounding Spencer's tragic demise still lingered. Richard Rogers, acquitted of all charges, embarked on a new chapter in his life at the tail end of 1973, drawn to the vibrant streets of New York City. So
New York is that away, man.
Oh, thank you. He's a forever student because he finds himself at Pace University's esteemed School of Nursing. With unwavering determination, he completed his studies in 1978, emerging with a master's in science. Now think about this. Listen, this motherfucker has finished high school, got a bachelor's in French, gone to jail for 6 months, been on trial for murder, acquitted of all crimes, and then went and got a master's of science before he was 28 years old.
How? I guess this isn't now times with now money.
Yeah, this is back in 1978.
Bro,
you could buy a house and a car.
Like a spit and a handshake.
Yeah.
What the fuck, man?
Also, nobody could Google you.
I'll mow your grass for you, buddy.
Nobody could Google you. That's perfect.
This is when you could go town to town and be like, nope, my name's not Dick Rogers. It's something else. And they'd be like, oh, okay.
It's
Dick
the
Rogers
classic,
is going to do a little of that.
It's the classic Wild West sheriff. Are you the bandit? And you're like, no.
Am I wearing a bandit mask? Of course I'm not.
Actually, you are. It's close to Halloween, buddy.
It's just all fully tanned onto his face. So the doors of opportunity have swung wide open with this master's in science. He went out, applied for some jobs, and was pretty immediately warmly welcomed into the esteemed ranks of Mount Sinai Hospital as a dedicated nurse. Over the years, his passion for healing led him to specialize in surgical care, where he tirelessly served in the pediatric ward until his eventual arrest. Now, I like to thank him because I think I've been on record as saying that Angels of Mercy are my least favorite of all killers. So I'd like to thank him for not fucking around in the hospital.
Fair.
But apparently he was known as he was a very highly esteemed nurse.
Really? Angels of Mercy are your least favorite?
Dude, because you put so much trust into a doctor. Yeah, listen, a stranger kills you on the side of the road or from the club or something. It's you're not expecting that stranger to take care of you. You're putting a little bit of, there's a little caution that you've got to throw in there and a little bit of risk, and you understand that. So if you're in the hospital and the doctor puts a bunch of fucking speedballs you 20 times and cuddles you till you die. I can't remember that lady's name, but yeah.
I just didn't
all that.
I didn't realize that was your least favorite. Mine's cannibals. So
yeah. Cannibals are they're not my favorite or anything.
No, I hate cannibals.
I think mine are child predators. They piss me off the most easily.
Yeah.
Child murderers are right there. It's like a 1A situation.
Yeah.
Thomas, care to weigh in? No.
You got a least favorite type of murderer?
I mean, all of them.
Yeah.
But
we do refer to them all as fuck faces here.
Good answer. Good answer.
I would say the ones, for sure, that go for the vulnerable, right? Children and people.
Or the ones that work in nursing homes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, like
Overalls,
old
pieces of
people
shit.
and shit. What is it?
Poor,
The
poor
Boston
old
Strangler
people.
went for older women, didn't he?
I'm sorry.
The Boston Strangler, the guy that,
Yes.
yeah, he went for older women. Yeah.
Yeah, older women be a target. So, while this murder was never charged to Rogers, he is believed to be a prime suspect in the murder of a 21-year-old Matthew John Piero. On April 10th, 1982, Piero was found dead off a dirt road near Interstate 4 and Lake Mary Boulevard in Lake Mary, Florida. His death resulted from strangulation and 6 stab wounds, and his nipple had been bitten off.
Sorry, what
Yep.
was that about Cannibals Grave?
just
Fucking monsters.
just let that soak in for a second. You want me to read it again?
I
His
feel
death
like
resulted from strangulation and 6 stab wounds, and his nipple had been bitten off.
that's I'm
Wait,
pretty sure that's a bit from the Blue Collar Comedy Tour.
did
Yeah,
they find it nearby or did he swallow it?
I think they could just tell that it had been bitten off, but I do not believe the nipple was recovered.
Yeah,
So
I
I was about
picture
to
his
say, so
chest
it's in
looking
the
like an
wind.
apple with a bite taken out of it.
Sure,
Ooh.
I think that's probably a pretty good. Also, with the 6 stab wounds, it like looks like a toddler tried to peel their own apple, then just decided to take a bite at the end instead. Shortly
He's
before
making
this
a joke.
murder, Piero was last seen leaving a gay bar in Orlando, Florida. Richard Rogers was in the area of at that time for a college reunion, and a bite on Mark Piero's body was also eventually could be matched to Rogers' teeth. Roger is also suspected of a 1986 murder of Jack Franklin Andrews, whose body parts were discovered in garbage bags and quilts at a rest stop along Route 8 in Litchfield, Connecticut. So basically, he's tied to quite a few. He's charged with a number in the end, but the ones that he's almost you guys know how it is. Sometimes they get them put away for X amount of time, and they're like, all right, probably we're not going to really work on continuing to charge him with all these murders. So there's a lot that are like this, where it's like, oh yeah, Dick Rogers probably had a lot to do with this murder, if not everything. But we don't really know. So Andrews is also suspected of being a victim of another unidentified serial killer who murdered and sexually mutilated at least 2 men in the United States between 1980 and 1986. So listen, I found that sentence and I found it interesting that he was also like, it could have possibly been another murderer. I could not fucking find who this murderer was referencing, or who this book was referencing this murderer could be.
Well, I mean, I
So,
feel like there's any number of
between 80 and 86, serial murderer who, I mean, it could be Ons, it could be the actual Night Stalker, it could be, I think they were both active at the time.
yeah, there's like I said, there's a number of like that seems like a line that they put in there where there's no way you could tell that it wasn't.
It would just be me guessing. So those
You
were my
can't
guesses.
prove it.
Nope, sure can't.
Prove that it wasn't,
Oh, damn it. So, investigators believe that Rogers may have killed whenever he went on vacation, as he frequently traveled to California, Florida, Massachusetts, West Virginia, New Jersey, and Arkansas. So,
Sorry, I couldn't handle my excitement.
yep, I know. You're a WV lover. West Virginia, Mountain Mama.
Mountain Mama, baby.
Yeah. Hey, Greg, did you gasp when I said California?
No.
Oh, dang it.
Understandable.
Sorry, I didn't say
frankly.
any of your states, Thomas.
I'm just like I'm
Maybe
not
next
surprised.
time we'll place a murderer there.
Mm.
Basically, later on, they're going to say, like, oh, here, I have it right here. There's one point where they take a look at his schedule for like several years, like work schedule, his vacation schedule, his life schedule. And basically, anytime he has unaccounted for time, they can put a murder near it. He's on vacation. They don't know where he was at. Yeah, this person was murdered here. They literally down to like, they said that they have his work time punches, and like the windows are that tight. They're like, this person died at this time on this day, and he was
Like
not
he
clocked
just
in at work. Like
clocked out of work, went and killed somebody on his lunch, came back, clocked back in.
Yes, or he just wasn't at, like, it was during work hours and he wasn't there that day, kind of thing, you know. So I don't know, just very
That's crazy.
you got caught up, motherfucker. On a summer night in 1988, Rogers extended an invitation to a man that he had met at a lively bar in Manhattan. Little did the unsuspecting guest know that this encounter would take a sinister turn. After a drive to Rogers' Staten Island apartment, the atmosphere seemed friendly enough as Rogers kindly offered his guest a refreshing beverage. The man, watching his figure, requested a diet soda. But to his surprise, Rogers returned with a glass of orange juice. Unbeknownst to the man, this innocent-looking drink would soon render him unconscious. As the orange juice coursed through his veins, he succumbed to a deep slumber. When he finally regained consciousness, he found himself in a bewildering and terrifying situation. His hands and ankles were tightly bound to Dick Rogers' bed.
Oh, Christ.
Question number 5. With what were his hands and ankles bound to the bed? What was he tied up with? Was it A, IV tubes, B, hospital ID bracelets, C, resistance bands, or D, scrubs?
What the-
IV tubes, hospital ID bracelets, resistance bands, or scrubs?
This is also like the other question where all of them feel wrong.
That means I'm either really good or really bad at writing questions, and I will take either.
No, I think it's good. That's tricky.
I thought you were
It's
going to
a hard
say
one.
which organ was he missing when he woke up in the bathtub full of ice.
Don't sound like that. All right,
What
Thomas, what do
nipple
you
was
think?
gone?
I said C.
Thomas said resistance bands. Grace said hospital ID bracelets. We're going to give Grace 250 points and tie this game up at 500 because, yes, indeed, when this man woke up, he realized he had been tied to Dick Rogers' bed, secure with hospital ID bracelets. We've all had to take those bracelets off, and you know.
Unless you
Those
get a running
bracelets
start,
aren't-
you're not.
Oh
To
my
get
god!
a running
Oh
start.
my god! What have I been admitted for?
It
Those
feels
bracelets
like
aren't that long though.
Well, they were linked together, like you had them cuffed like a chain.
That's crazy.
I feel like that guy from what was
I
it
re-
on TikTok who does like how many of this can hold me, and he,
Oh,
you know what I'm talking about, where he like hangs from his closet door.
Saw him do
I feel-
hangers.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
feel like he could. This guy's doing that. Like, how many hospital bracelets does it take to hold somebody down to a bed? 2, pop. 4, pop. 37.
I'm running out
Okay.
of them. Yeah, I feel like you're not wrong, Greg. I feel like some testing definitely had to go into this. If you're just gonna, you can't just throw that right into action. You know.
Got to get a guy who doesn't look like he's in very good shape.
So, tied to the bed with hospital ID bracelets, vulnerable and exposed, he lay naked on his back, unable to comprehend the gravity of his predicament. Rogers, displaying a chilling calmness, approached the man with a needle in his hand. With a swift and calculated motion, he injected the man, causing him to slip back into unconsciousness. Hours passed, and the man awoke once more, disoriented and desperate for escape. Summoning as much courage as he had, he managed to get to a phone where he was able to call a trusted friend who promptly rushed to his aid. First of all, your friend calls you and you're like, this guy's got me tied up in his apartment. Are you just charging in there and grabbing him out?
No, I would be like, direct me to where I need to send the police, please, because I'm
yes.
not fucking showing up. Like, love you, bud.
Yes.
But
Better question. If he's like, I need you to come here right now. Better question. While you're driving there, it's a nice day. You have the windows down. Do you have the radio on?
Yeah, bro. I'm playing Dance Gavin Dance, getting hyped up, ready to fight a serial killer, bro. What else am I supposed to do?
A big reason why the police were not called, and this will one of the documentaries that I watched really touched on this a lot, is we're talking 1978. Basically, in one of the documentaries, they're like interviewing some of the detectives from back then, and they were like, why didn't you go into this club and ask questions? And they're like, the detectives were basically like, then we would have had to talk to all the gay guys. Like, it was seriously like, it was like mind blowing. Like, that was so outside of our realm of comfortability. We didn't even understand that was a place we could go and ask questions. Like, it was just such bad excuses.
I
Such
Well,
believe
bad
the kids
excuses.
say it gave us the ick.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly why this was like, oh, instead of dialing 911, I'm just gonna call somebody I know to try to fucking come get me out of this.
Flavors of
well,
Dahmer, dude.
I was gonna say, yeah. I mean, the
Yes.
Yeah.
Dahmer situation is a fantastic example of that, especially with the relevant time frame.
Yep. It would have been
And
right around this. Yeah, you're not wrong.
that was a big thing too. They were just call it, oh, it must be a gay thing, and then
Yeah.
lo
Oh,
and
we
behold,
don't.
That's why
it's
the
a gay.
handcuffs didn't freak them out, because they were like, oh, they're just being weird and kinky.
Sexual deviance.
So together they made their way to the local police precinct. So like they still like involved the police. They just didn't try to like have them rush out there to save him, you know. Recognizing the severity of the situation, the authorities wasted no time in seeking justice for the victim. The man was swiftly taken to Roosevelt Hospital, where a team of dedicated doctors conducted a series of tests to assess the extent of his injuries. Among their findings were telltale bruises on a vein in his hand, a haunting reminder of the ordeal that he endured. So, besides the injuries that you might expect a man who was raped to have, that was the only other injury. It was like bruising in a vein in his hand where he was intravenously injected with
That's
drugs to keep him unconscious. In an effort to gather evidence, the man underwent a rape kit examination, hoping for some semblance of closure. However, the results came back negative, leaving him with a mix of relief and frustration. Despite the lack of physical evidence, the man's harrowing account of the events was enough to bring Dick Rogers to justice. In August of that same year, Rogers was apprehended and charged with the heinous crime that had forever altered this man's life. The subsequent trial, held without a jury, took place in December of 1988. Question number 6. Finally, he's been caught for another major crime. For how long would he finally be put away in this attack? And I will say that in this trial, they allowed the fact that he had been acquitted for murder in the past to be presented.
Can't do that. It's
Ooh.
illegal.
Is it really?
No, I don't.
You can use it to. You can't use it to show character. You can only use it to show, like, if
I guess
they
that makes
had killed.
sense, but fuck.
If this guy had been found with like a plastic bag over his head, they could be like, hey, look, he knows that this will work because he did this in an attempted murder from years ago. But you can't be like, hey, by the way, this guy's a piece of shit. He was convicted. He was charged with murder years
Only
ago.
when it's explicitly related, then.
Right.
Okay.
I wonder if that was a law that came after 1978.
Oh, maybe.
How bad would you feel if you were that guy? Right, you just got tied to a bed with ID bracelets from a hospital, and then you go to the hospital, and what do they put on you?
Oh my
No,
ID
bro.
bracelet.
Well, can I just wear it as a lanyard, please?
Okay, question number 6. Finally, he's been caught for another major crime. For how long would they put him away for this attack? I know, basically the same question, but we got to get him in here.
He was acquitted for this one as well? Is that what you just said?
No. He just didn't have. This was not a trial by jury. This one was just like he just went before a judge for this one. 2 years for Thomas, 5 years for Grace. Thomas is going to get the points because despite the overwhelming weight of the evidence against him, Rogers managed to evade conviction yet again, leaving the victim and those seeking justice stunned and disheartened.
Dude, that's me right
no
now.
way.
Excuse me? Fucking pardon?
Yeah, I know. That's why I put it in there twice, because I knew it would fuck you guys up.
Oh my god.
Like, there's no way it happens again.
Yeah.
Holy shit, it happened again.
So, between 1991 and 1993, a chilling series of murders unfolded, targeting gay and bisexual men who were enticed away from vibrant piano bars of Manhattan. These innocent victims would later be found dismembered, discarded like trash in the bins along the highways of Pennsylvania, New Jersey, and New York. Question number 7. The killer is going to develop a nickname from the media. What is it? Is it A, the gay bar killer, on the nose, but we know the media to be? B, the last call killer? C, the Port Authority monster? Or D, the Times Square Slayer?
Oh my god.
The Gay Bar Killer, the Last Call Killer, the Port Authority Monster, or the Times Square Slayer?
I really like Port Authority Monster. The Pam.
The bam.
And in the late 70s, the Port Authority was like the worst fucking place you could be.
Can you read those again?
The Gay Bar Killer, the Last Call Killer, the Port Authority Monster, or the Times Square Slayer?
The
2 for the Last Call Killer, and points to both of you.
Nice.
Because yes, indeed, he was dubbed the Last Call Killer by the media. Now, we're not talking like a serial killer who's sending in letters to be, to the newspaper being like, oh, why haven't you found me yet? Or whatever.
I'm the
This guy-
Zodiac.
Yeah, this guy just gets his nickname. He didn't want to be nicknamed. He didn't want to be known. Although Richard Rogers was only convicted of 2 of the murders when it's all said and done, those of Thomas Mulcahy and Anthony Marrero, suspicions lingered that he was responsible for all 4 that we'll talk about. The first recorded victim of these sinister last call murders was Peter Stickney Anderson, a 54-year-old man. On that night of May 5th, 1991, Anderson was last spotted on Lexington Avenue, having enjoyed a few drinks at the Townhouse Bar in Midtown. The following morning, a maintenance worker made a horrifying discovery in a trash barrel along the westbound side of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. Unable to lift the heavy garbage bag within, the worker cautiously opened it, only to be confronted by Anderson's severed head. The supervisor was immediately alerted, who wasted no time in contacting the Pennsylvania State Police. What a fucked up day at work, huh? You're like,
Ah,
why isn't
Jesus,
this
I
fucking
haven't even had
heavy-ass
my
bag
coffee
coming
yet.
in? Yeah. Just
my
a
God.
severed head inside. So an autopsy would later reveal that Anderson had been met with a gruesome end, succumbing to multiple stab wounds on his chest and back.
Once they found it.
Well, it wasn't just the head in the bag. It was, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the torso in the head, but the head sat on top. So when he opened it,
do you think when he
That's
put
what-
everything in there, he was like, I'm going to put this thing face up so it fucks up whoever opens it?
I don't know. Maybe. But let's see. The autopsy said that Anderson made gruesome ends, succumbing to multiple stab wounds to his chest and back. The post-mortem examination also unveiled the disturbing fact that he had been castrated after death, with his own severed penis placed grotesquely into his mouth.
Dude.
So when that dude opened and saw his head inside the bag, he likely also saw his wang hanging from the mouth of the severed head.
Didn't someone else do that?
I feel like that's a move that a lot of them do. Like,
Yeah, it was
why?
like
It's
Take
like
that, you cocksucker.
Yeah, it's like I feel like it's just a humiliation thing.
I feel like there's just some deep-seated like self homophobia going on.
Oh, I think you're exactly right. I think he felt and understood the kind of hatred that he even got from like his parents and family as a kid,
Yeah.
and he couldn't help being who he was, but he took it out on other people who were the same as him.
Yeah, for sure.
Rigor mortis indicated that Anderson had passed away less than 37 hours prior to the grisly discovery of his remains. Initially, his identity remained a mystery, but it was eventually established after his personal belongings were found strewn along another section of the turnpike. The Last Call Killer's reign of terror had begun, leaving a trail of horror and heartbreak in his wake. Like I said, dude, this is so fucked up. Because, we talk about the people indirectly affected by these killings. I think we talked about it in the last episode we did, or maybe even in our chiller chatter, but the people who discover the fucking bodies.
Yeah.
And the people how, I know that there's have you seen that clip where it shows like the kids coming out from under a bridge and they like climb up and the guy's like filming and he's like, hey, what happened down there, kids? And they're like, we found a body. And the kids are like, they're like very little kid thrilled about it. I was like, yeah, those kids might not get fucked up by it, but there are going to be.
There's going to be somebody who understands the gravity of the situation.
Yes, like opening up a trash bag that won't pull out of a can that you've done a million times. You've done the move,
You've done the move.
And so when it's heavy, you're like, oh, what'd some asshole put in here that I'm gonna have to fucking pull out to be able to get this bag out
Buckles.
of this can? Yeah, and so you open it up, and it's a goddamn. It's not a it's not a fucking spent bag of charcoal briquettes. It's a torso and a head with a penis in the mouth. Yeah.
Yeesh.
So
That was my Monday.
The third victim, Anthony Edward Marrero, was a 44-year-old gay prostitute from Manhattan. His tragic fate unfolded on May 10th, 1993, when the chilling discovery of 6 plastic bags containing his remains was made off of Crow Hill Road in Manchester Township, New Jersey. The gruesome details revealed that his body had been mercilessly dismembered into 7 pieces. His arms, legs, torso, which had been callously severed in half, and his head. So those are your 7 pieces. Head, torso into each limb as an individual piece. His
torso in 2?
Yeah, torso split down the middle vertically.
Whew.
Rib cage.
Ooh. So a Terrifier situation. Okay.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty terrifying.
Yep. The cause of Marrero's untimely demise was attributed to the multiple stab wounds inflicted upon his back and torso, very similar to the stab wounds we had seen before. Shockingly, his body parts had been meticulously cleansed, leaving no trace of the heinous act. The last sighting of Marrero alive was near the bustling Port Authority bus terminal in Manhattan. The final known victim, Michael J. Sicaro, was a 56-year-old openly gay man. His presence was last acknowledged on July 30th, 1993 at the vibrant Five Oaks Bar in Greenwich Village. That fateful evening, Sicaro engaged in conversation and shared drinks with an individual who identified himself as Mark or John, claiming to be a nurse at St. Vincent's Hospital. So he was. We say Mark or John because different people at the bar that night were given a different name by him. Like either he forgot who he was going by that night, or he switched it up in the middle of the night. But some people were like, "Yeah, that guy was Mark," and some
They're like, "Have you talked to that guy John who's been going around here? He's giving people the creeps." He's like, "Weird. My name's Mark."
Right, and like think about this, like think about. All right, let's say you're a contractor. All right, you're a construction contractor named Tim, and you go to a bar and you're trying to hide who you are. So you're like, yeah, I'm actually Tom, and I'm a plumbing contractor. Like he still said he was a nurse. He just changed the hospital that he worked at and just went by another like
You'll never
classic.
find me this way.
Yeah, I'm Mark from St. Vincent's, not Richard from Mount Sinai. Little did Sicaro know, unfortunately, this would be his final encounter with someone, as this would seal his tragic fate. The morning of July 31st, 1993, about a disturbing discovery when a man stumbled upon a suitcase and a bag containing Sicaro's personal belongings, his shoes, pants, shirt, and wallet, at a Haverstraw Bay overlook. Sensing an unsettling aura surrounding the findings, the man promptly delivered the items to Haverstraw Police Station. Hours later, a hot dog vendor made a horrifying revelation. Sicara's head.
These aren't hot dogs at all.
Sicara's head and arms were concealed within 2 garbage bags, concealed within a trash barrel. The macabre scene unfolded just 9 days later on August 8th, when the remainder of Sicara's remains were unearthed 10 miles north in Stony Point, New York. So he spent the longest out there because his parts were spread a little more than the other ones. So they found one part of him, and then 9 days later found the rest of him.
So, not to get too off track here, but
please do.
This reminds me of an episode of Archer where the Italian prime minister was killed in Mallory's apartment, and she called Archer and Lana to help her like figure out what to do. And they called Krieger, and he showed up and dismembered the body in the bathtub and then gave everybody a small package to take home and throw away. And it was like 7 pieces in 5 separate burrows. And when you look at it from above, it makes a smiley face. And like, and I legit am getting the same like feelings here. Like, there's no way they'll connect a torso here and a fucking leg over there.
I was just gonna say, has anybody drawn the design and found out yet? Are we about to put something together on this show? Can we finally say if you're using this show for research? Awesome.
I've done the math over here. It makes a frowny face.
Womp womp.
It makes a
So
heinous.
in a mouth. Mirroring the pattern of the previous victim, Sakara's body had been dismembered into 7 pieces, each one meticulously washed to erase any trace of the gruesome act. However, unlike the others, Sakara's cause of death was attributed to a brutal bludgeoning, with 5 harrowing strikes sealing his fate. At the crime scene of Thomas Mulcahy, law enforcement officials were unable to recover any fingerprints. Question number 8. Unable to find prints, they were able to find some DNA. Where? Did they find some DNA inside a condom? In hair follicles on the carpet? In blood splatter on the counter? Or random DNA inside a latex glove? You just got to go quote unquote DNA on the first A and D. DNA inside a condom and DNA inside a latex glove. Or was it hair follicles or blood splatter?
I know which one I don't want it to be.
Okay, so both of you guys said inside of a latex glove. You're like, this dude don't use no condoms.
No, he's gonna be
Use a
weird about
Snickers
it and
wrapper.
fucking use like a fucking
Snickers wrapper.
Law enforcement officials were unable to recover any fingerprints at the scene. However, they did discover quote unquote DNA within a latex glove. Great job, guys. 250 points to each of you.
double dub.
Okay, so 8 of 13 questions down, so plenty of time, guys. It is Thomas 1250, Grace 1000. It's practically neck and neck here. So the genetic material was subsequently entered into the combined DNA index. Remember, it is 1993, so we are very, very early. Like they're like collecting DNA, but they don't really know what to do with it yet. Kind of, that's like where we're at. Like, we know we should keep this. I don't know what the fuck we're gonna do with it, but there's for sure stuff in this glove. So they put it into this system, and the system is maintained by the FBI. No matches were found. In addition,
bunch of fucking assholes.
And every time I have to source FBI.gov, I just watch Greg's face.
Cool, good way to give disinformation. Good thing people aren't using this show for research.
In addition, investigators were able to trace the origin of the bag containing the glove to a specific branch of CVS located on Staten Island, utilizing the SKU number. Like, we've had some pretty great police work this season, Greg.
Yeah.
I will say we
using the SKU number of a bag, taking it back to a Staten Island CVS is impressive.
So you got a little DNA and the location from which it was was purchased.
I guess you got to get fucking creative, but yeah.
Hey, narrow it down however you can.
Obscure, dog.
Yep. At that time, there were a total of Furthermore, a sticker found on the keyhole saw used to dismember Mulcahy was traced back to the Pergament retail chain, which is a hardware store, I guess. So they're just tracking down where everything came from. Everything that they have in evidence, they're like, we know exactly where this was purchased. Like, maybe not exactly who purchased it.
This guy used a keyhole saw to dismember somebody.
I guess if you know where to cut, right?
I feel like even if you know where to cut, the amount of effort that, like, good grief, Charlie Brown.
I gotta Google keyhole saw to make sure I'm picturing the correct thing right
they're
now.
Like tiny little triangle guys with. Like,
I was picturing an incorrect thing. Yep. Yeah, that would suck.
Yeah,
that would suck.
How exhausting, dude.
Yeah,
you just use one of those like electric turkey cutters.
Yeah, like
the same thing.
Yeah.
So when I said they traced it back to the Pergament retail chain, they didn't have the specific one. They had that it was from that chain, and there were a total of 32 of those stores in New York and New Jersey.
It doesn't seem like a whole lot though in that area.
I was gonna say still pretty narrowed down.
Yeah,
it's better than
an afternoon's worth of driving around.
Yeah. Notably, 2 of these stores were situated on Staten Island, with one conveniently located across the street from the aforementioned CVS branch.
Bet I know which one it was.
Oh, this particular discovery led detectives to believe that the individual responsible for the crime may have resided or worked in close proximity to Staten Island. The dismemberment of Mulcahy's body was described by police as disarticulation, and his bones had been deliberately separated from his joints. This particular detail led investigators to speculate that the perpetrator possessed some form of medical expertise. Like, dude, they're fucking nailing it, dog.
Good for
I
them.
mean,
Yeah.
can I want to be devil's advocate here and
Sure.
say that I think if you've hunted enough, you would understand how to do that. And technically,
Sure.
his dad did take him to do that when he was a
You're
child.
not wrong. You're not wrong. He is also a surgical nurse, though.
This is true.
So they were just
Yeah, and also you're talking about being in New York where it's not exactly hunting hotbed.
I wouldn't say that. You got the Finger Lakes, like the Adirondack area. Like, I would say that that's like kind of reasonable.
Okay, well, I didn't show up here to be smacked in the face with a bunch of New York knowledge because I've never heard of any of those things. I know Adirondacks are a type of chair.
Is a fucking chair, bro.
Yeah. And Finger Lakes, you're just making stuff up, but that's fine.
No, bro. No, that area is technically the top of Appalachia, and it's actually quite mountainous. So, I'm so sorry.
Wait, what? New York is the top of No.
So Appalachia actually stretches all the way up into Canada. It actually goes all the way up into Canada.
The neighborhood I live in is called Appalachia.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Greg, I will furnish you with a map if you would like.
Can't read.
I was gonna say, don't give him anything to read because that means I'll have to read it.
Yeah, I was gonna say you'll send it to me and I'll send it over to him.
All right. So, good devil's advocate, you're not incorrect. And they did say that they speculated that the perpetrator possessed some form of medical expertise. In an effort to, I guess what they were saying too is that like the skills that were shown went beyond what they would expect of a hunter. Like this was
like exceptional.
This was surgery grade work.
With a keyhole saw.
I was saying, but he's using a keyhole saw.
Well, in one murder.
Scalpels are expensive, bro. Have you seen those on the bill?
In an effort to identify any potential. Yeah, on the bill, I've seen the fucking Tylenol be $17.50. So
that's cheap Tylenol.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was early 2000s. So the police completed a VICAP form to search for other crimes that exhibited comparable characteristics. Upon learning of the murder of Peter Anderson, law enforcement officials began to consider the possibility that a serial killer may be operating in the area. Again, nailing it. And listen, you guys know, listening to the show, I'm not like always like, man, police, what a great job you've been doing. But basically every move that they've made in this one is like, well, that was great.
That makes sense. Yeah. Looking back in hindsight, that's the right move.
Yeah, great move.
Fair play.
Yep. As a result, Anderson's case became a significant focus to their investigation. The limited edition Acme bag, which contained the severed head of Anthony Marrero, was exclusively distributed at specific locations, including the Staten Island location.
So this guy's literally getting his stuff from the same supplier as Wile E. Coyote.
Yep.
Like
limited edition bag too.
Good thing he didn't get any dynamite.
That thing probably be huge on eBay right now. Just fucking TNT. He gets his anvils there too. So, despite the presence of 2 fingerprints and a palm print on the bag, none of these prints yielded any matches in the automated fingerprint identification systems to which they were submitted. Following the murder of Michael Zakara, a collaborative effort was initiated by 8 law enforcement agencies, New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania, to apprehend the perpetrator. So between those 3 states and several agencies, 8 law enforcement agencies came together to try to fucking tighten this shit up, get it figured out, figure out who this is. They would utilize witness statements, a composite sketch of the suspect who claimed to be employed at St. Vincent's. Remember, that was Mark or John.
Mark John.
Additionally, the New York City Gay and Lesbian Anti-Violence Project offered a reward of $10,000 for any pertinent information. They
Oh,
were
and
a
that's
big part.
1990s money too. That's like $1
Yeah,
billion
yeah.
today.
The Gay and Lesbian Anti-Violence Project, they had like several people who were part of that in this documentary series. And they were basically, they had put that together because they felt that they were so unprotected at the time that like this organization came in to do the job that basically they said. So while the police weren't protecting them, we're seeing them do a great job in the wake of them being murdered, right? But we're also seeing them possibly like not do enough to prevent murders from happening. So this group was created basically to help that situation, and they're mad legit, like you said. That's like a fucking $1 billion in 1990s money. Furthermore, authorities sought the names, addresses, and dates of birth of all nurse employees at St. Vincent's Hospital with either the first or middle name of Mark or John. This inquiry led to the identification of a person of interest, namely Mark, a homosexual individual serving as a nursing care coordinator at St. Vincent's.
I was just going to say, how many innocent people do you think were swept up in this fucking dragnet they had going?
Mark or John?
Yeah. Like, damn, dude, this guy just like shows up to work and they're like, hey, we know you killed that guy. I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
Like,
basically, also mad coincidences because this guy maintained residences in both Manhattan and Staten Island and was rumored to frequent the Townhouse and Five Oaks bar.
We've got our man.
Although this individual was subjected to questioning, no evidence was ever uncovered linking him to a series of murders or any crimes.
They're like, hey, swing a hammer.
Come on.
Let's see you swing a hammer. Come on.
See what you look like here, big guy.
You know what a keyhole saw is?
On August 26th, 1993, an anonymous tip came in about a nurse who worked at the renowned Mount Sinai Hospital. According to the tip, this nurse had an encounter with a man at a gay bar before inviting him back to his place. However, things took a sinister turn when the nurse attempted to restrain the man while he slept. Thankfully, the man managed to escape the nurse's clutches and flee. Interestingly, fate seemed to have a hand in this twisted tale, as the tipper claimed to have coincidentally encountered the nurse once again, this time at the Townhouse bar. So whoever this anonymous tipper is seems to be very familiar with Dick Rogers. From what I understand, the anonymous tipper has never come forward. They don't know who it is. But it seems
that's what
like,
makes him anonymous.
Well, anonymous at the time doesn't mean anonymous 30 years later. You fucking dick.
Not with that attitude. Yeah, let me just tell on a murderer and then put my face out there.
Yeah, so the nurse, undeterred by their previous encounter, tried to persuade the man to return to his home. However, the man wisely refused, sensing danger lurking beneath the nurse's seemingly innocent facade. Unfortunately, the person who provided the tip did not possess any knowledge of the nurse's identity. Determined to uncover the truth, detectives promptly requested information on all the male nurses employed at Mount Sinai and residing in Staten Island. So now we're
getting there.
Yeah, we're getting somewhere. All right, forget the Mark John thing. Tell us about Staten Island. So photos of these individuals were presented to a bartender who had witnessed Sicaro with a suspect. As the bartender scrutinized the photographs, one particular image caught her attention. The face of a man named Dick Rogers, who bore a striking resemblance to the suspect, particularly in terms of their hair. However, despite this resemblance, the bartender could not definitively identify Rogers as the culprit. With this setback, investigators were forced to move on. Their pursuit of justice temporarily halted. Months later, in April 1999, the New Jersey State Police stumbled upon a groundbreaking fingerprint lifting technique. Question number 9.
Technique.
What was the name of this groundbreaking technique?
Oh, fuck.
Was it A, vacuum metal deposition, B, chroma coat technique, C, fingerprint fuming, or D, nano powder dusting? Vacuum metal deposition, chroma coat technique, fingerprint fuming, or nano powder dusting?
Can I just say,
Cool.
looking at the actual answer here, and then knowing that you made the other ones up, those are impressive. Those are very impressive.
I will say 2 of them are real. Only 1 is made up.
Oh,
So 3
I
of those up there are real. 1 is
okay. I think I know which one's the fake one.
I took forensics in high school, and I feel like
Fuck.
I should know this, and I'm disappointing my forensics teacher right now is what's
Gonna get
happening.
flamed. Make sure your forensics teacher listens to this.
I was gonna say whatever. You
Oh.
didn't even tell your forensic teacher what show it was. So
I told you just the close ones, bro.
Oh, all right. What do you say, Grace? Vacuum metal deposition, chroma coat technique, fingerprint fuming, nano powder dusting. Thomas says nano powder dusting. Grace says chroma coat technique. Greg, which one did I make up?
Fingerprint fuming.
Greg, I made
What?
up nano powder dusting. The
Whoa.
answer is vacuum metal deposition.
Got me.
Huh.
I know.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why
that
I
was-
was like, that doesn't sound like a fingerprinting technique at all. And then I went to look up other ones, and it was like, what? There's like 3, dude. What are you talking about? So I was like, fuck, I gotta make one up.
Well done. Well done.
They all sounded fake to me.
Ah,
That's perfect then. I fit right in. Okay, so months later, in April of 1999, the New Jersey State Police stumbled upon a groundbreaking fingerprint technique known as vacuum metal deposition. This innovative method utilized metallic vapors to unveil hidden and latent fingerprints, potentially providing a breakthrough in the case. Eager to explore this new avenue, gloves and numerous plastic bags from the crime scenes were dispatched to a forensic lab in Toronto for analysis. After 6 painstaking months, the dedicated scientists successfully managed to lift a number of prints. We're jumping right to question number 10, because after 6 months of work, how many prints had been collected from that evidence?
Oof. Like,
Closest to
talking
the
full-
answers,
full
250
prints?
points.
I hate that I always have to ask for
Partials.
clarification. I was gonna say, is this a partial? Is this full? Like,
These are
Usable.
fingerprints and palm prints.
ooh.
Usable fingerprints and palm prints. That's
Hmm.
Greg used the correct word there. Usable. All right. Greg said 3. Tom said 10. We're going to give Thomas 250 points as he extends his lead to 1,500 to
Shit, man.
1,000, because after 6 months, the Toronto lab was able to churn out an impressive total of 35
Oh my God.
fingerprints and palm prints from the collected evidence. These crucial pieces of the puzzle were then meticulously packaged along with detailed information about the case. The packets were subsequently distributed to all 50 states and Puerto Rico, ensuring that each jurisdiction could run the prints through their individual AFIS systems. It was during this extensive process that a breakthrough finally emerged. The fingerprints were matched to a man named Richard Rogers, whose records were stored in Maine's fingerprint database. Astonishingly, Rogers had been on file since his arrest back in 1973. So they've had some prints basically leading up to now, just nothing they were all partials. And it's like late 90s now, and they're just getting the systems to like figure it out.
CSI has misled us.
Yeah. On May 28th, 2001, the police made their way to Rogers' workplace, approaching him with a shocking revelation. They cunningly informed him that he had fallen victim to credit card fraud, and in an effort to coax him into agreeing to be questioned. Basically, they didn't want him to get like aggressive at work, so they were like, "Hey, you've been big time credit card fraud. You need to come downtown with us, answer a couple questions. Let's get it figured out and help you out." And he was like, "Oh shit, really? All right, like yeah, let's go." So they take him from the hospital, they take him downtown, and basically this is the beginning. As they led Rogers into the interrogation room, the detectives dropped a bombshell that would basically kick everything off. They revealed that their true purpose was to investigate the very murders that he was suspected of. The weight of the situation began to sink in for Rogers, and at this time reluctantly admitted to knowing Michael Zakar. So he's answering some questions. The police are, they're working their way towards it. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, Rogers realized that the police had connected him to a few heinous crimes. Question number 11. Do you have something?
Yeah, like, so I remember being, like, in school as a kid and would, fuck up in class or whatever and know that the teacher was gonna call home eventually at some point. And so every time the phone rang, I would just get, like, sick to my stomach with anxiety. I'd, like, run over and grab it or whatever to make sure that it wasn't the school.
Yeah.
And, like, you know what I mean? Like, imagine, like, you've murdered 4 people, and now
The police
you're
just roll into your work.
yeah, and they're like, "Hey, it's just about credit card fraud." Like, are you the whole time you've gotta be thinking, "Dude, they know. There's no way. There's no way. They have to know." And then they hit you with it. They're like, "Hey, we
We
know."
know.
It's
Yeah,
like
it's
when
fucked
your
up.
it's like when
Just
your parents like, "You have anything you wanna tell us?" They pick you up
oh
from
my
school,
god,
you're
they
in the
just
car, like
before we ask you any questions, just assume we know everything.
Oh, God.
It's the
Thomas,
worst.
as a parent, have you got to say those words yet? Is there anything you want to tell
Mm,
me?
Oh my
yeah,
gosh.
but mostly because I would just want them to tell me something. 'Cause
Yeah.
it's more
I don't
it's more of a
actually
trick.
know, but
See,
it
bro.
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
That's fucked up, dude. That's not right, man.
Spear tactics, yo. They get used against us. We got to use them now. All right. It's called learning.
Yeah, just be like calling them for dinner, but I'm like, you got something to tell us?
Oh, dude, just a shot in the
Uh,
dark like that?
Why, dude? Why?
I love it. A plus
oh
method.
man.
All right. Question number 11. What did Dick Rogers do when he realized they knew a lot? Did he A, admit to everything? B, go completely silent? C, get very violent? Or D, request a lawyer?
Those
Hmm.
middle 2 there sound like lines from a song.
Did he admit to everything, go completely silent, get incredibly violent, or request a lawyer?
Oh. What was the first one?
Remember the first thing he did too, and they were like, "Hey, Michael Scar." He's like, "Yeah, I totally know that guy." What? All right, you guys got your answers.
What was the first one?
Admit to everything. Just, I'm sorry, it was me. I did it all. Go completely silent, get incredibly violent, request a lawyer. I already flowed it
Oh,
for you, Greg.
God.
That's the intro.
I don't know if I think of it, I think the intro is gonna be, "These aren't hot dogs."
All right, Grace said B, went completely silent. Thomas said D, requested a lawyer. In a desperate attempt to protect himself, Dick Rogers wisely requested legal counsel, giving Thomas
Ooh.
250 points on that
He
question.
got off twice with the lawyer, so I mean,
He's like, I'm just going to put my faith, throwing Hail Marys
That's
here.
true, yeah.
Okay, let me take a look
There's 2
here.
questions left.
But
It's not happening, bro. It's not happening.
they're not really stabbable. Okay, the next one can be, though.
Yeah,
Great,
they're
Grace,
both they both can be.
Oof. All right.
that's true.
Let me align my remote viewing chakras.
Yeah, it's true.
and
It's true.
fucking-
Grace, you'll need to take stabs. Thomas got a pretty good lead, 1750 to 1000.
You can coast.
Yeah, you can coast. You can get those multiple choice options after Grace has put her stabs in. We haven't quite got there yet, though. We're going to. So it was at this moment that the authorities had no choice but to place Dick Rogers under arrest, his fate hanging in the balance. The search of Rogers' home would uncover a series of chilling discoveries, further solidifying suspicions against him. Among the findings were a bottle of Versed, a notorious date rape drug,
Oh shit, that's a date rape drug?
serving as a disturbing piece of circumstantial evidence. The carbon fibers found in his home were eerily similar to those discovered on Mulcahy's lifeless body, leaving no room for doubt. But the macabre revelations did not end there. Plastic bags resembling the ones used to wrap the victim's body parts were also uncovered, painting a grim picture of Rogers' involvement once again. As investigators delved deeper into his personal belongings, they stumbled upon highlighted passages in his Bible, disturbingly centered around decapitation and dismemberment. The horror continued to unfold. He's like one of those people who like gets in their
The
Bible
good
and
book.
finds a bunch of justification for the shitty things that they do. They're like, but the Bible says right here you cut their heads off if they're like gay or whatever.
They're
Like,
like,
yeah, but
"Okay."
you're
Can't
gay.
poop
He's
on
like, yeah,
Sundays,
but
dude.
nobody's coming to cut my head off yet. So The horror continued to unfold as they stumbled upon a collection of videotapes showcasing nothing but spine-chilling horror films. Which, I mean, like, listen, like if I were in 1993, I'd just have a bunch of horror films too. So
I was gonna
seems
say
fucked up to
let's see what films they are. Like,
yeah, but also like just to go along with everything else, they're not helping. A New Jersey road map, seemingly innocuous on its own, took a sinister meaning in the context of the investigation. And to add a growing pile of evidence, Polaroid pictures emerged depicting shirtless men with haunting stab wounds drawn upon them. With each new revelation, the case against Rogers grew stronger, leaving no room for doubt in the minds of the investigators. Also, when I mentioned the stab wounds drawn on the
was he like putting X's on him where he was gonna?
no, he was like in dimension drawing the stab wounds on them, and they were like stab wounds that would match with stab wounds on the torsos of the men that were found.
What a jerk! I mean, like
Both your and Grace's responses were exactly.
So I mean, does that mean he stabbed him like purposefully, like in those spots, or just a random
either
wound?
yes that, or he remembered them and was reliving. He had done the stabbing wherever it took place, and then was like, "Oh yeah, I got him right here."
Were the
and I got him
shirtless
over here.
guys other victims, or were they just
No.
randos?
The shirtless guys were drawings. They were like medical, like T pose,
Oh.
There's a name for
think
that,
like
but I don't
autopsy
remember
Like the
drawings,
Vitruvian Man. Oh.
whatever
like-
it is. Yeah, without the extra arms and legs.
What's
When
even
you-
the point?
like the papers you fill out at the chiropractor type thing.
Yeah,
Here,
exactly
here.
that. It's just like a T posed guy, and yeah, exactly. It's because he had access to that stuff at the hospital, so you just get that thing and
I need to take these home for stuff.
Research.
If you're using these papers for research, don't.
Yeah. Okay. The pieces of this dark puzzle were falling into place, and the weight of justice loomed heavily upon Dick Rogers. You know that you're like a serious criminal when your bail is set at fucking $1 million.
Who said it? Dr. Evil?
Because listen, in order to get out on bail, you've got to put up 10% to a bondsman, if they'll take it. By the way,
This guy's a doctor. He's probably got $100,000 laying around.
he's a nurse, but yeah, you're not wrong. Nurses make great money too, but $100,000 laying around is quite a
second mortgage. I suppose, right? I don't know how else you'd fucking do that. But
Right. So, but I mean, we are talking. We're in the early 2000s now. It's like 2001.
Sell my horror movie collection.
No, I didn't think about that.
So he gets put. His bail is set at $1 million. He found himself trapped in a web of suspicion and horror, awaiting his day in court. Rogers' trial would commence October 26, 2005. What's that? That's like
2 days ago.
Yeah, but
18 years.
And it also matched up nearly perfectly with his Halloween one from the late 70s.
October's a rough month for him.
Yeah. This would mark the beginning of a gripping legal battle. As the jury selection unfolded, an intriguing proposition emerged, a plea deal that dangled before Rogers like a tantalizing possibility. The offer proposed that if he were to admit guilt to manslaughter in both cases, he would face yeah, I was just making sure it didn't give away the answer, and it doesn't. Okay. He would face 2 32-year sentences with the potential for parole after 15 years. Furthermore, if he confessed to third-degree murder in the tragic demise of Peter Anderson, that's the extra murder, he would get question number 12. What was he to get in return for the plea deal? Grace, you're going to have to actually stab at this one.
Yeah. So are we saying like what unit am I to use?
So there are years. There are years.
Okay.
One is a man.
Think about jail sentences. How do you like
exactly? Yes.
Okay, I see. Yeah, that's what I was asking. Is it like
it's
that?
Like I don't want to give you a hint, but at the same time, I want you to understand. Like,
oh fuck. In a plea deal, it is like he is
in a plea deal.
In a plea deal for 3 murders.
One of them being, or 2 of them being manslaughter, and one of them being 3rd degree. Oh shit! My wife just texted me and said Matthew Perry died.
Oh no!
What? I'm gonna say this because I just feel like I don't. You know what? I'm just shot in the dark.
Okay, Thomas, let me give you the multiple choice options.
Oh, fuck.
Is it A, a life sentence with parole? B, 10 to 20 years?
Phew.
C, 25 years? Or D, life sentence with no parole?
I'm just gonna go with A.
Life sentence with parole. Nobody's going to score any points on this one. Grace, you still got a chance. The plea deal was to offer him a 10 to 20 years behind
Whoa.
bars if he
Oh.
agreed with the plea bargain of the 3
but
murders, 2 manslaughter, 1/3 degree.
I mean, technically, like, mine was like in that range. So
It
like,
was, but I know that's why it was tough,
damn
because
it,
it wasn't
bro.
originally made to be a stabbing question.
Fuck.
So, let's see. That gives Thomas. Yeah, Thomas has got 750. So on the next one, if Grace nails it and Thomas gets it wrong after the multiple choice, Grace will win. Thomas, you could also stab at it if you want to. There's nothing that says you can't do that with a 750 point lead and secure that shit if you'd like. So you know how you guys know how the game works. Just ask questions about questions if you have any questions. I can't answer questions about questions if you never ask questions. So for the plea bargain they offered him, he would be sentenced to a total of 10 to 20 years behind bars. If he agreed, the decision weighed heavily on Dick Rogers. He contemplated the offer, but ultimately declined. Throughout the trial, a parade of witnesses took the stand, each with their own connection to the case. From those who stumbled upon the haunting remains of the victims to the diligent detectives who tirelessly investigated the matter. Their testimonies painted a vivid picture of the events that unfolded. Fingerprint comparison analysis also lent their expertise, adding another layer of intrigue to the proceedings. However, amidst the sea of voices, one remained conspicuously silent. Richard Rogers himself. He chose not to testify, preserving an enigmatic aura around his persona. He definitely still without saying a single word, carried himself very well throughout this trial. Piece of shit. Fuckface asshole idiot. Sorry. However, yet the
Idiot
court,
head.
the court deemed it unfit to delve into the killings of Frederick Spencer and John Piero, as well as the 1988 assault, leaving these dark chapters unspoken during this trial. November of 2005 brought forth pivotal moment in the jury's verdict. After 3 hours and 45 minutes of deliberation, they rendered their decision, finding Richard Rogers innocent on all. No, I'm totally joking. He was guilty on every charge, and the courtroom held its breath, awaiting a reaction from the accused. However, Rogers remained stoic, his gaze fixed upon the front of the room, betraying not a single hint of emotion. Question number 13. In what year did Richard Rogers die?
Oh.
There are multiple choice options. Grace, you have to stab to get it. Thomas, again, you're welcome to stab at it if you'd like.
Did you? Okay. Repeat what he was sentenced for, please.
He was sentenced for 2 counts of first-degree murder.
Okay. So he was born in 1950.
Correct.
So 50, 2000. So what? Maybe. Ooh. See.
Thomas, did you stab or are you waiting?
I'm gonna stab.
Okay.
Oh!
Thomas going for that Hail Mary game.
I'm gonna say still alive.
Same.
All right, Thomas said still alive.
Oh,
Ooh,
fuck.
what
Get
a
out of
move.
reach for Grace. And that's such a bummer because he is still alive. Richard Rogers
God
presently
damn it.
resides within the confines of New Jersey State Prison in Trenton, New Jersey, serving 2 consecutive life sentences for the heinous murders that he committed. I'm still going to put 1,000 points on the scoreboard here.
Like,
That was a hell of a defensive move there.
With the stab, too.
Yeah.
And with that, you guys put up probably the highest scoring game of the season. That was
Damn.
4,750 combined points.
Yo, let's go,
Nice.
dude.
Yeah. And that's fucking all she wrote, ladies and gents. That's the game. Where did my All my citations that I meant to move, I don't think I ever moved them to the bottom. I just cut them from the top. That's okay. I have them right here and I can do them just like this. So I used the Wikipedia. I used an oxygen.com article, an msn.com article. I used the documentary series The Mark of a Killer from 2019. And I used the 2023. This was random too, that I got the story of Richard Rogers, was like, oh, hell yeah. Let's see if there's any documentary. And this year one came out called Last Call, When a Serial Killer Stalked Queer New York. That's a 4-part series, and it's on HBO.
Yeah.
Or Max, or whatever the fuck they're called now.
I was gonna say, I felt like I started watching that and never
really.
It was like one of those background ones, though. I just put it on the background.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent 4-part series. But if you guys are interested any more in the case, check those options out. Also, serialchillerspod.com for any of the cool shit that you'd like to find out about us. If you want to buy any of the merch, dude, it's hoodie season. Greg's rocking one right now. Is that a hoodie you're wearing, Thomas?
No, just a long sleeve.
Okay, either way, guys, Serial Chillers hoodies out there for you. Patreon and donation pages are also available. And again, if you want to join the conversation, you want to hang out with us on a near daily basis, watch some movies, if you play video games, if you're into food. I just reorganized the Discord too to make it a little more accessible and kind of broken up into more subcategories. Come hang out in the Discord. Come do it. If you don't know how to do it, email or text Greg and I 1-805-666-2513, serialchillerspodcast@gmail.com. Those, basically immediately pop up on our phone. We'll fucking help you figure it out, man. Come hang out with us, serialchillerspod.com. Congratulations, Thomas, on your victory. Want to take a victory lap? Anything you want to say at the end here, buddy?
No, just thanks for having me. It was fun. I feel I'm kind of like Kanye right now, spitting through the wire. So I got my wisdom teeth removed 2 days ago.
Oh, shit.
I'm starving also. So, Grace, I beat you starving and in pain.
Yeah, you were a wounded animal and you were cornered, bro. Of course you won.
Yes, that's what he figured out. Grace?
Awesome. Yeah, it was awesome.
Sorry, go ahead, Thomas. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was just saying it's awesome. And definitely join the Discord. We have a lot of fun in there.
We really do, dude. Thank you for being here, Thomas. Grace, anything you want to share with the world?
Oh, I know my boy's gonna listen to this in December when it comes out. So fuck you, buddy. Love you, but
you want to say his name? Name drop him. Come on, name drop him.
D-Lo, fuck you, love you, but
but you better not make fun of her.
He so will, bro. But yeah, I love you guys. Everybody come to the Discord. It is very cool. We play games and watch stuff and have movie nights and all the things. And yeah, if anybody wants to check out my Instagram, it's dis.gracie. Post a lot of pics of my dogs. So
I was gonna say, if you want dog and West Virginia content, Grace is the place to be.
I will be your primary producer for that. Yeah.
Hello, Greg. I know you've got something to add.
Yeah. I saw that map that Grace sent in the Discord. And get the fuck out, dude. I didn't know Lake Placid was in New York.
Yeah, man. What the hell? Where'd you think it was?
I don't know.
On a lake somewhere. Minnesota, maybe? That was.
He's like, all I know is that I saw that video where the alligator lived in it. So
yeah, I saw that documentary about the alligator that lived in Lake Placid.
I think if you start to think about the Great Lakes area, it makes sense because New York touches that, right? So it's there's a lot of water and shit up there.
I am grossly misunderstanding where New York is.
Yeah, I think you are.
So just so you guys know, we're bringing the network back. The new podcast it's called Geography Chillers.
Yeah,
check us out every Wednesday. That's hosted by Greg and Grace, someone who's really good at it and someone who's really bad at it. They come together and they got a geography. It's a really great idea. I think we're gonna really nail it with this one.
I don't.
That can be the next
on this map.
Yeah.
Though.
There's not a what?
Three Fingers Lake.
Yeah.
Oh no, not the Three Fingers. It's the Finger Lakes. It's just an area.
No.
It's in northwestern. It's in the rural part of New York.
Doesn't exist.
That's not real. Prove it.
If you look up, it's west of Fort Drum. If you're curious.
I feel like you're making up things at this point.
I'm not.
Well, you know what? We're going to continue to make up things after we hit stop recording. I love you
Oh,
guys.
yeah.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate everybody out there. Check out lonelyfans2z's.com.
That's what I was forgetting.
Yeah, I got you, dog. Thank you very much, Grace. Thank you, Thomas. For Grace, for Thomas, for Hella Greg, I'm Cromulent. Jesse, remember, don't talk to strangers. Okay, bye.
Matthew Perry drowned in his hot tub.
Whoa.
Holy
Did he
shit.
get back on drugs
What?
then?
They said no drugs were found and no foul play suspected.